Hello and welcome to round number 1 of Master Race Car's Rallycross Championship, the third season of this championship, hosted by Master Race Car, supported by New Dimension Racing and streamed here on Sim Broadcasts on Twitch and YouTube. I'm Peter Butcher and it's just me in the commentary box tonight, but alongside me is Chris McElroy in the background pressing all the buttons and making sure everything runs smoothly. We've got Jonathan Palmer currently running the driver briefing, and then in about 5 minutes time we're going to see some cars on the track. Thanks for joining us here this evening. Let's get a quick look at what's going on the championship calendar. We have 5 rounds of this season, and to begin with, we're going to be heading to Aston, the Master Race Cars custom Rallycross 1 layout here at Aston, and then we have 4 more rounds in the new year scheduled. One at Blackwood, one at Fern Bay, another one at Aston, and then Westhill on February 5th. All of these races beginning around about 6 o'clock UTC for practice. So if you hadn't heard about this season before now and you want to get involved in any of the future rounds, check it out on the Live for Speed forum and join us at 6 o'clock UTC for Rallycross action in Live for Speed. So yeah, as I mentioned, the drivers are currently doing the driver briefing, and that will be taking them through the running of the event. And it is fairly complicated, as you will see. Let's have a look at the combo for tonight. Aston Rallycross 1, a 1.7 kilometre, 1.1 mile long track, and we're going to have 3 sets of heat races. Each of the heats are going to be 3 laps with 1 mandatory joker lap, and then an A, B and a C final, each of which are going to be 4 laps at about 7:45 UTC. Here is the track in all of its glory. We have 8 corners, and the joker lap is just after the hairpin at the top of the hill after the corkscrew, the uphill corkscrew in this direction. At turn number 4, the drivers have to go through that at least once per race, and they're going to be doing a lot of races, at least 4 races for each of the drivers tonight. We have around about 15 to 17 drivers we expect to be competing in this event across all the heat races, so it's going to be fairly action-packed compared to the previous 2 seasons of the event. So the event is growing, and it should be pretty good. Let's have a look at the cars. There are 4 cars that the drivers get to choose between. The Shanker T16, which we've seen before in Season 2 of Master Race Cars Rallycross Championship. Then the Saab 9.3 T16 4x4. The Fraud Wheeler RX, which I love the name of. And the Lemon Ara Coupe T16 2, so slightly inspired by the Shanker there. All the cars are pretty even, except it looks like the Fraud Wheeler E2 RX has a slight advantage, being 9 kilograms less heavy than the other cars. Each of them with 440 brake horsepower, each of them with a 2-litre inline 4, and all of them are all-wheel drive. So pretty even, but it does look like that Fraud Wheeler E2 RX may have a slight advantage, being slightly lighter. All right, we have 3 minutes to go before the start, and just to remind everybody how this works, there is a heat racing format. We have 3 sets of heats. Every driver will compete in at least one race in every single heat, and that will give them points, and those points will give them a grid for the final, either the A, B or the C final. The C final will happen first, of course, and we'll work our way up to the A final when the champion will be crowned. We will have a graphic for the first grid in just a few seconds, and we'll see who is going to be competing in that one. We have a graphic for the first grid, I believe, and here it is. I believe that is slightly outdated data, but we'll get you the first grid. Yeah, so we have this is the correct gridding. Sorry, there we go. So in the first heat, we're going to have Roni Hopiavuri, Timu Sarkinen, Arthur Jackson, Cunny. That name will be updated shortly, and Rafael Costa. In Heat 2, it's going to be Heat 1, Race 2, it will be Michael Malik, Jelek Diknoda, Daniel Lundqvist, Stephen Bossard, and Ron Krompus. And then in the third race of Heat 1, it will be Sindra Silva, Yasso 7up, that's T-Bug, and Miguel Leandro and Tim Diknoda, the organizer of the series and also the creator of all 4 of the mod cars that we're going to be running in this series. So there we are. That is the lineup for heat number 1. Handy to have the grids, and there we are. The updated names in heat 1: Agostino da Silva and Miguel Leandro, and Yassin Badal there in heat race number 3. We have action on the track, so we're going to switch over to our track cameras and get ready for the heat racing. The drivers are just doing some warm-up, and we will be ready to go in just a moment's time. A few drivers doing some warm-up here, as you can see. There's normally a little bit of warm-up before each of the heats, just to give the drivers a chance to put the cars through their paces. So just getting ready to go for heat 1. We're currently watching Costa doing a few warm-up laps of the track. This is the final corner running up to the start-finish. And we should have a regrid very, very soon. I believe Jonathan Palmer is just wrapping up the briefing. All of the drivers are listening to that. And then we will have semblance of normality. Just a little bit of a delay here. Apologies for that. But we will be getting going very soon. Some of the drivers are lining up. But we are missing a couple of cars. And here we go. Here comes the race start for race number 1 of our event. Heat 1. Race 1. Da Silva, Sarkkinen, Costa, and Hoppivuri. 4 cars lining up. And here come the lights. It's going to be a quick run down to the first hairpin, as we run down to what is normally the first hairpin of Aston Cadet. And there's already side-by-side barging as we head down to the first apex. And in true rallycross style, there's always one car that hangs back. Hoppivuri there, hoping to get a good lunge up through the uphill corkscrew. Contact between the top 2 there, the Silva and Sarkkinen coming together. The polystyrene barrier there, not really designed to last. And into the first hairpin goes Costa, and already setting the Joker lap was Hoppivuri. That might have been why he stayed back. He's already set his Joker. In fact, no, he's the only driver who didn't do the Joker. The Joker's on the outside of the corner, my mistake. As we head down through this gravel trap and onto the final corner. Big send there from Sarkkinen. Trying to get back past Costa, and Hoppivuri, well, he's not gained much there. He's only a nose ahead of Da Silva. And he goes quite wide into the final hairpin, and that's going to give Da Silva the inside. A good exit by Hoppivuri. And as we start lap 2, he has 2 more laps to decide when to serve his Joker. He got a good exit there out of turn 1. That's giving him a bit of space over the cars behind. But probably not enough, because they're right on him. Da Silva very, very close. Sarkkinen sending that barrier for 6 again. And there goes Hoppivuri through the Joker and rejoins in P3. Sarkkinen bouncing off the walls. Very close in the background here between Sarkkinen and Hoppivuri. And we're back almost as we were at the beginning of lap 1. with De Silva. Oh, goodness me. Hopiaviri going through all the tyres there. But De Silva has a little bit of a challenge on his hands now. Costa really, really close behind. But another good exit there. And as they work their way out of the Joker section, it's pretty close. Final Silva leading Costa down the hill. Just two corners to go, the left and then the hairpin right. And it's De Silva who's mounting the challenge, a hard challenge on Costa. But it's good enough. Just one hairpin to go for him. And it will be possibly race victory for him, but it's a bit of a scramble through the final corner. Sarkkinen looking for a move, and is he going to get it? He is just going to get it. So Sarkkinen takes P2 over with P1 there. And Hopiaviri comes across the line in P4. So there we go. Heat 1, race 1 is complete, and we have some race results to show you. Full confirmation there of the results. De Silva in first, Sarkkinen in P2, Costa P3, and Hopiaviri in P4. Didn't go well for Hopiaviri there. He dropped back at the beginning, decided not to serve his joker, and ultimately that cost him. Fastest lap goes to Sarkkinen, 59 second 0.74. Heat 1, race number 2 coming up in just a moment's time, and we can have a little look at the grid for that again. So we've completed the first heat. Heat race 2 will be contested between Michael Malik, Jelle Dicknodder, Daniel Lundqvist, Steven Bossard, and Ronnie Krompusch. And here it comes right now. Drivers are in their starting positions. We have Michael Malik on the far left, Tim Dicknodder next to him, Lundqvist in the middle, Bossard and Krompusch on the right in his notoriously bright green machine. And it's a great start from Michael Malik as he charges down to the first corner. Not such a great start for Jelle Dicknodder. He's in the barrier. That's going to be really, really difficult to recover from. Lundqvist hasn't had a good first corner either. But Michael Malik has had a dream start. He can probably serve his joker now and forget about it. He's not going to go for it this time around. Krompusch and Bossard side by side, and Lundqvist does his joker lap. But Michael Malik has had a dream start here. He's going to try and do a couple of laps probably before he does his joker. Knodder is really struggling. He's barely made it out of the hairpin. Car already significantly damaged. But it's a battle really between Ronnie and Bossard here. And even that's been slightly negated. Bossard's had a good end to this lap. Michael Malik seriously wide at the final corner. So wide, in fact, he's given up the lead. So that lead he had, which was 1.5 seconds before the final hairpin, has disappeared. Oh, and a bit of a bump there. Lundqvist is recovering well. He's already caught up to the back of Ronnie as we head on to lap 2. Jelle Dicknodder, unfortunately, pretty much out of this so far. He's only just going round the first corner. These guys are already at the top of the hill. Michael Malik and Bossard taking very different lines, and that's because Michael Malik's decided now's the time for him to serve his joker. Just Ronnie and Bossard left to complete that joker lap. Ronnie there completing his joker, and Jelle Dicknodder not. Just Bossard left to complete the joker lap, and he now leads with a pretty healthy advantage, 2.4 seconds now over Michael Malik, who's going to be challenged pretty soon by Lundqvist. Here he comes. Bit wide again at the hairpin and almost attacked there by Ronnie, but Ronnie with a tighter line couldn't get the power down as quickly. So Bossard out of the first corner onto the final lap. And Bossard does the Joker and comes out in completely clean air. So that was a completely clean Joker, no one to contend with. But in the background, I can hear crashing of metal as Lundqvist has had a pretty botched hairpin. So too has Roney. And they're all pretty spread out in the end here. An ultimate corner for Bossard in just a moment's time. And look at that, 3.5 second lead, easily the biggest lead that we've had so far. We'll have to get a check of his fastest lap to see whether this was indeed the fastest heat. But across the line comes Bossard, a very convincing win there in the end, ahead of Michael Malek. And then it's going to be close, really, between Lundqvist and Roney, because these two are... Well, they were pretty close together the whole race. And unfortunately for Jelly Dicknodder, well, he's got to bring that car across the line. He's going to be pretty unhappy with that. The first heat, 20 seconds off the lead for him, unfortunately. And that brings to a close race number 2 of Heat 1. And we can get confirmation of the results on screen for you now. Bossard in 3 minutes 2.7, and he did indeed set a fastest lap than Sarkkinen in the previous race, a 58.05. Michael Malek in P2, 5 seconds off in the end after having a pretty large lead on the first lap. It just all evaporated in the end. Lundqvist 10 seconds off in third. Ronnie Krompusch in P11, and then Jelly Dicknodder rounding out the grid in 5th. Heat race 3 coming up in just a moment's time. Here we go for Heat Race 3, contested between Yassin Bidal and Silver, Leandro and Dicknodder. Tim Dicknodder this time, so some relation of Tim Dicknodder there. Here come the lights for the final time in Heat 1. And we are green after a bit of a hold there, and it's a good start from all of the drivers. Best so, Yassin Bidal. Yassin Bidal will lead the field into the first corner. He's not in the best place for it, though. You don't want to be in the middle of the pack, really. You can be forced out pretty wide, and it's a good start then for Silver. He gets the break, and as we head up the corkscrew for the first time, side by side go Bidal and Leandro. Bidal forced through the polystyrene barrier, and that's going to drop him to the back, is it? Oh, into the wall hard, and that allows Tim Dicknodder to sneak through unscathed. But again, pretty wide, and they all come together, costing each other time. No one served the Joker on that in the hot seat with a good advantage as we head down the hill. Pretty close in the background. These three need to find space, otherwise they're going to end up just holding each other up for the remainder of this race. Tim Dicknodder's now got a bit of a break, and he needs to hold on to it as the two behind almost take each other out. Leandro's desperate to try and get back up to Bidal as Bidal makes contact with Tim. And there we go, Tim back down to P3. He's not having a good... Oh, goodness me, as onto two wheels goes Leandro. Nearly rolled it. That could have been game over. He keeps it going. But yeah, Tim Dicknodder is not having a great time at the moment. Tim needs a good result here. He is the reigning champion of the MRC Rallycross Championship Series. But currently P2 is not going to be enough for him, certainly. Out of the final corner comes Silver. He's done his Joker. All he has to worry about is doing a clean lap. Dicknodder, he has to do the Joker as well. And doesn't want to lose much time over Bidal. He shouldn't lose enough. He shouldn't lose too much time here. It's only a very, very short Joker. Very committed uphill section there from Dicknodder, but he's tapped the Armco, and that can cost you a bit of time, unsettling the car. And Bidal, although he managed to get alongside, not enough speed out of there, and unable to do any moves on exit. And it is Silver who is leading the way. 3.6 seconds currently is his advantage. 2 corners to go for him. 5 seconds as we head over the timing line. So he's gained a couple more seconds there. And as he enters the final hairpin, Heat 1, race 3 is going to go the way of Silver. And then it's a tussle between Dignodder, Vidal and Leandro. Leandro did very well, really, to catch back up, but in the end, he will have to settle for one step off the podium. And let's get full classification of that race then. There we go. Silver in 3 minutes 1 second, so a slightly slower heat there from Tim Dignodder, 6 seconds behind, with Yasin Vidal and Leandro 911 in 4th place. And it was a very, very quick race indeed. Silver did a 58.46, which makes that our fastest lap yet in a heat. So good effort to him. And that is it for Heat 1. We will be back very soon for the beginning of Heat 2. Welcome back to coverage of the Master Race Car Rallycross Championship Season 3 Round 1, Aston MRc RX 1, and we are just about to get going for heat number 2. We don't currently have grids for that, but as soon as we do, we will give you that information, and we should be going for action in not very long. And for those of you just joining us, we can have a look at the track very quickly once again and get a quick look at what the drivers have been dealing with. It is quite a complicated little circuit, so short and sweet. But yeah, no time for that now. We have to head to the track, I'm afraid. Not that you're going to complain much. Racing action with Hoppy Fury, Lundqvist, Krampus, and Yellow Dick Nodder. Heat 2 underway. And it's a good start from Lundqvist and Hoppy Fury. Ronnie Krampus trying to make something work around the outside. Not quite going to work on that occasion. He has made it up to P2. Hoppy Fury down to P3. And leading the way, it's Lundqvist in Heat 2. Didn't have such a great Heat 1. Much better this time. Hoppy Fury hard into the wall. Does his Joker straight away. And it's Lundqvist and Krampus up at the front. Hoppy Fury with the first Joker done. And Yellow Dick Nodder, unfortunately, down in P4. Not able to do his Joker. Not able to keep any of his places at the moment. 2 corners to go for Lundqvist on this opening lap. Heats are 3 laps. The finals will be 4 laps long. Every single driver has to do a Joker lap at some point in each of the races that they compete in. And out of the final corner comes Krampus. And it appears as though Lundqvist is opening up a fairly healthy gap at this stage. He's pulling tenths and tenths out of the drivers behind him in this heat group. Good effort as we go up the hill. And will he do his Joker on this occasion? He's got plenty of room, and yes, he will. He will decide to go for it now. Krampus doesn't. Hoppy Fury doesn't. He's already done it. So just Krampus. And almost contact, but clean in the end. Hard into the wall goes Roney. That's going to slow him down. And Hoppy Fury makes quick his advantage and takes the place. Nodder's done the Joker. And that just leaves Krampus to do the Joker. And that's an uncomfortable position to be in. 3rd place with the Joker still to go. 3rd place at best really here for Roney, unless something happens to one of his competitors up ahead. Lundqvist with a nice entry into the final corner. And still has a bit of an advantage as we head on to the final lap then. Nice first corner. Tyre smoke starting to puff out from the rears. Already on the limit. That's going to be a bit of a worry for him as he heads into the finals later on, which is slightly longer, 25% longer races. These 3 will tighten their line through the hairpin. No need to go through the Joker, but Roney, as he hits the barrier again, he will. Here he goes. But fortunately for him, Yellow Dick Nodder just hasn't had a brilliant afternoon so far. Slightly far behind, but who cares about that? We've got a battle on for the lead. This is the closest finish we've had so far. Hoppy Fury looks like he might be able to effect a pass if he can get alongside. Lundqvist goes very deep. And Hoppy Fury is going to have to decide whether he wants to go for a send in the final corner, surely. But a bit of a defence from Lundqvist. And a bit of a touch of the barrier as well. But Hoppy Fury too upset. The car too upset and cannot get that position in the end. So Lundqvist winning with a very nice drive there. Hoppy Fury in P2, fastest lap to him. Krampus across the line in P3, and then Yellow Dick Nodder just coming around the final hairpin now to finish the race. There we go, across the line. Here are the final results of this heat race. Lundqvist finishing in P1, Hoppy Fury P2, Ronnie Krampus in P3, Yellow Dick Nodder in P4, some 22 seconds off in the end, so not having the best of afternoons. And Hoppy Fury a 59.22. Stand by for the next race, And the next race will be contested between Timu Sarkin and Michael Malik, Rafael Costa, Yassin Badal, and Miguel Leandro. The table on the top right there. Here it comes. Sarkin on the left, Leandro on the right as we look at them. And here come the lights. Michael Malik there in the white, Costa in the middle, and Yassin Badal in that very colourful blue and gold livery. Good start from the middle too. Michael Malik with a brilliant start already into turn one. Bit deep. That's going to compromise his exit slightly. Sarkinen is already alongside, making gains. And as we head up the corkscrew, Michael Malik side-by-side contact with Sarkinen. Badal up to P2 now. And Michael Malik hard into the wall, forcing Badal and Michael and, well, four of them into the Joker. But the table's completely going to switch here. All four of these guys deciding to do their Joker at the same time. Some of them didn't really have a choice. They were bundled in there. And Michael Malik's been spun round in side-by-side contact. And this is a dream scenario for Sarkinen, who had a great first heat, winning it convincingly. And as we head into the second heat, the only competition he's got so far is Costa, who, well, he wished for better results in the second season of this championship. But so far, so good for him. Yassin Badal taking up P2 then. And as we head out of the Yassin in P3 with Leandro trying to challenge him for P3. But Michael Malik with it all to do now in the background. He has the pace. We know he has the pace. Let's see if he can close up to the back of the rest of the field. Sarkinen has all the time in the world to do his Joker lap. A bit deep, bit of grass, and an uncomfortable, in the end, Joker lap for him. But enough of a gap over Costa for now. Gloves off. And these two are going to fight to the end. 1.5 laps to go. Yassin Badal versus Leandro here. And as they head down the hill towards the final couple of corners, it's going to be close among this field. Sarkinen has a bit of an advantage. Leandro's lost a bunch of time, dragged the wall. Badal hasn't had that comfortable of a end to this lap either. But Michael Malik still quite a way away. He needs to start chipping into the advantage of the cars ahead of him if he wants to get a good result here. Podium would be what he wants, really. Get a good position in the final. Costa grabs the fastest lap away from Sarkinen there. He's making good gains. And yeah, let's ride on board with him and see what a lap on board of this track looks like. We're on the final lap. No need to do the Joker. Everybody has completed it in this heat so far. But Costa needs to pray for a good couple of corners here in order to close that gap. Sarkinen very effective out of the hairpin. And as he chucks it over the gravel trap down the hill for the penultimate time, in fact the final time, he's quite a way away. Sarkinen a little bit deep, giving up time on the apex, swiping the tyre barriers. And across the line comes Sarkinen to win another convincing heat race ahead of Costa, who gave him a good challenge at the end there. That was definitely a feisty little heat we had. Across the line in P3 is Leandro. So Yassin Badal did not have a great heat race here. He would have hoped for much more, and certainly Michael Malik would have hoped for a lot more. Not good from him really either. And as we head to our full classification, there you can see another race win for Sarkinen. 3:05 his race time, 59 seconds, the best lap. And the heat races here are coming thick and fast. We are ready for heat race number 3 of heat 2. The drivers lined up on the grid are as follows. We have Silva, Bossard, Ducnoda, and De Silva. Tim Ducnoda this time round in the yellow machine there. Organizer of the series, creator of all 4 of the mods we're using here today, and also reigning champion, drops to 4th place as we head up to the first corner. And it's another good start from Silva. And they line up side by side once again as we head up the corkscrew. Silva giving no room there. We've got De Silva and Silva in the same heat. This isn't going to be confusing at all. And Bossard then dropping to the back of this group. And Tim does the Joker there as you see him going slightly wide. And there's contact between De Silva and Bossard. And that's a roadblock then for Tim. He won't like that at all. He's been boxed in. And now Silver with the advantage in race number 3 of Heat 2. Once again, he's doing a very nice job there out front, but Dignota heads through to Silver. De Silva very, very wide the penultimate corner. And another very tight apex for De Silva, being Dignota just the run he needs to stay clear. 3 cars still left to do their Joker lap. Dignota will gain a minimal advantage on this lap or the next, depending on when the other drivers do that Joker. But Silver, pretty strong. You've got to think that Silver and Sarkkinen that look to be the strongest at the moment of all the drivers we've seen tonight, but we'll have to wait until we see them together again to determine who's the best. Bossard currently closing that gap, 1.2 seconds at the last timing line. It does look like that gap is coming down rather than going up. We will, of course, find out. In fact, it does go up, so another good sector from Silver. Noda is looking at the back of that pairing up ahead and thinking, I want to be a part of that. And he's going to be hoping that one of them makes a mistake. On to the final lap we go, and 3 of our 4 cars have to do the Joker. Silver, Bossard, and De Silva. Jonathan Palmer in my ear commenting that he thinks it's going to be pretty close between these two and Dignota. In they go to the Joker lap. Tim doesn't have to do the Joker. But yeah, minimal disadvantage really. And Dignota is still a sizable way behind. As they head down the hill for the final time. Silva even further behind. He had a spin on the previous lap apparently. We did miss that. But as we head up to the final corner, it is Silva leading Bossard. Bossard with a big send. Silva choosing to brake on the grass there. A little bit of a strange strategy. There's more grip on the tarmac. And across the line they come. Silva winning ahead of Bossard. Tim Dignota coming across the line in 3rd. And it's a bit of a wait for De Silva, who crosses in 4th. So here come your results for race number 3 of Heat 2. Silva in 3 minutes 1 second, then Bossard, Tim Dignota in P3 and De Silva in P4. Bossard's time of 58.04, so actually the fastest heat time we've had so far. So Bossard setting the pace, even if not yet registering a heat race win. But a very good effort. We're going to take a quick break while the heats are set for the races are set, for heat number 3. We'll be back in just a moment's time. Welcome back to Master Race Cars Rallycross Championship Season 3, the first round here at Aston MRc RX1. And we're about to get going for heat number 3 this afternoon. And here is that heat grid. Miguel Leandro will be on the hot seat for the first race with Yassin Bidal, Michael Malik and Jelly Ducknodder, with Arthur Jackson there in P5. And here we go to the grid straight away for heat race 1 of heat 3. The driver's just waiting for the lights, and we are go with Leandro. Apparently we're having a restart. That was a false start. Car 45 will have a double joker. They'll have to do the joker twice because they did a false start. And it is Leandro, Bidal, Malik and Ducknodder who head their way down to the first corner. And it's a good exit once again for Michael Malik. We've said this before though. Let's see if he can hold it together this time as we head up the hill. And it's through the tyres for Michael Malik and into the wall hard for Jelly Ducknodder, crashing all on his own. And as we head through the first few corners, we have Yassin Bidal serving the first of 2 jokers for him, and Leandro also serving the joker. And Michael Malik still somehow retaining the lead after all of that, but with a joker to serve. Ducknodder has also served the joker. So just Michael Malik to go then, as they all crash through the tyres going absolutely everywhere, and we remain focused on the front here as Yassin Bidal going for the slightly wider line. That's worked for some drivers, proving a little bit of a disadvantage there for Yassin. For Leandro. Bidal making good work of the final corner. They need to catch up to Michael. Michael will do the joker at some point very soon. Either now or on the next lap. Let's see what he chooses to do. He's going to go hard into the barrier again, and doesn't choose to do the joker. Yassin there doing his second joker for the false start, and that drops him back down behind Leandro. He went quite deep into the gravel trap. That's why he is now in 3rd place. Leandro up to P2. Jelly has flipped at the first corner, so that car upside down and out, unfortunately. It'll be a DNF for Jelly Ducknodder in heat 3. Michael Malik into the tyres again. All 3 drivers picking up tyres, some of them second hand. And again, Yassin going for an alternate line, making contact and spinning almost a half spin, forcing Leandro slightly wide and getting through. So Yassin Bidal, a bit of a push to pass, but an interesting move nonetheless. Leave that one up to the stewards. Up to P2 for him. Michael Malik has to serve the joker on this lap. We're down to 3 cars now. Jelly Ducknodder retiring, and again Michael Malik getting it all wrong. It seems so simple, but it's so easy to do, and that's going to drop him down to P2. And a bit of a roadblock caused by Bidal there, but after having 2 joker laps to serve, Yassin Bidal leads heat race 1 of heat 3, and that's a great turnout for him. But Michael Malik got that wrong all on his own, drove into the apex of the corner before the joker and made his life very difficult. He's had a very nice corner there though, but it's going to be Yassin's unless someone goes for a big send. Michael does go for a big send. Yassin's gone quite wide. Michael could have this if he gets a good exit. Onto the grass goes Yassin. It was close, but in the end, Yassin Bidal, the number 45, 2 jokers, takes the win ahead of Michael Malik with the fastest lap, and Leandro in P3 with a DNF, unfortunately, for Jelly Ducknodder. So here are then the final results of that heat race. Yassin Bidal takes the win ahead of Michael Malik with Leandro in P3 and Jelly Ducknodder classified but in P4, 2 laps down. Michael Malik of 59.78. So not the fastest of laps, but it was a very intense race. Drivers crossing up with each other a lot. Michael Malik bouncing off the barriers a lot. Ultimately getting the fastest lap in that heat. Race 2 coming up very, very shortly, and that will be contested between Rafael Costa, Roni Hopi-Vuori, Daniel Lundqvist, Agostini da Silva, and Roni Krompusch. So the penultimate race of Heat 3 about to get underway between these guys. And here they are in all their splendour. Costa on the left, Hopi-Vuori second left, Lundqvist in the middle, Da Silva on your right, and Roni Krompusch far right in that notorious green and red livery. And it's a good start from all five. This is going to be very close. Roni on the grass already. Lundqvist nose ahead as we head into the first corner, but it's going to be Hopi-Vuori. Oh, goodness me, who's that going around? That's Costa spinning round at the back. That's not a good start for him, unfortunately. But Hopi-Vuori is hot on the tail of Lundqvist heading up the hill. And this is great news for him. He likes to be in this position, as we've seen. And they're both going to serve the Joker together. Is Da Silva going to be able to get an advantage? Yes, he is. But not enough. He will split Hopi-Vuori and Lundqvist there. So Hopi-Vuori not going to be pleased with that. He's been separated from Lundqvist and now has the only car yet to serve a Joker ahead of him. Silva a little bit wide, losing a bit of time into the tyre barrier and throwing tyres in front of Roni Krompusch in the background. And it is Costa who backs up this grid then, as we have three cars side by side almost leaving the final corner. And Lundqvist has a challenge on his hands. He's got Da Silva right behind. And Lundqvist knows the car behind him is not going to go the same way as him. He's more than likely to go through the Joker lap. And really, Hopi-Vuori will be praying that he does, so that he can get back close to Lundqvist without having to battle his way through a car. But into the barrier goes Da Silva. Da Silva goes through the Joker. Lundqvist goes deep. And that's going to bring back our race protagonists back together. But again, Lundqvist able to get a really nice exit. And looking to be the strongest of these drivers in this heat so far. Nicely does it through the final set of corners. One lap to go here in Heat 3 for these guys. And a very, very wide line for Lundqvist. In fact, oh goodness me, almost contact, almost blocked entirely by Hopi-Vuori. He could have blocked him if he wanted to. And this is going to be the closest final lap of any of the heats we've seen so far. Glued together as they come through the first corner. This is the highest standard of driving we've seen, I think, in a heat so far, in terms of how close the drivers are and how smooth they're being. Hopefully that doesn't undo them as they come into the far side of the circuit. No, it looks pretty clean. Bit of a bump there for Da Silva. Bit of a bump there for Hopi-Vuori, and that sends him round. But his car is powerful enough that he's able to get back running and pushes Da Silva into the barrier. Very unlucky. And there's just nowhere for him to go. So after looking like Hopi-Vuori was going to be out of it, he somehow holds on to P2 in this race. Unfortunate for Da Silva. He's dropped down behind Costa. In fact, quite a way behind Costa. He's dropped back behind Roni even. So something else has happened there, unseen to us. But it is Lundqvist who leads Hopi-Vuori out of the final corner. But drama further down. Lundqvist comes across the line to win. There he goes. Hopi-Vuori takes P2. Costa will take the last step on the podium. But what's going to happen between Krompusch and Da Silva? It is going to be Krompusch who takes P4. And Da Silva, well, after looking like he might get P2, has to settle for the final slot on the grid. Not ideal for him. Let's get a look then at those final results of that race. Lundqvist winning in 3:07, so by far and away our slowest heat so far, heat race so far. Hopi-Vuori a second behind in P2. Costa there in P3. A little bit of a surprise P3 probably for him. Krompusch in P4 and Da Silva very unlucky there, finishing 17 seconds down in P5. And it's Hopi-Vuori who had the fastest lap. We told you they were going to come thick and fast. We're ready already for race number 3 of this heat. And that will be contested between Sindre Silva, Stephen Bossard, Tim Ducknodder and Teemu Sarkinen. So a very, very quick heat this between drivers who are notoriously quick at their rallycross. So here we go then. Racing is back. We're waiting for the lights. Silver on the left, Sarkinen on the right, and it's going to be a good one. Bossard had the best launch. Sarkinen side by side to Tim Dicknotter there, but Silver forcing it up the inside. Bossard in the white car there, just on Silver's right-hand side, and they are line astern as we head up the hill. Bossard and Silver going into the first chicane together. Silver hard into the wall, and that allows Bossard the lead. And it is Silver who does the first of the Joker laps. There he goes, and Sarkinen is boxed in behind Bossard. Sorry, Sarkinen boxed in behind Tim Dicknotter. Bossard is checked out. He's up the road. And these three still together. So Bossard doing a pretty great job. Silver going for a bit of a send on Sarkinen, forcing him wide and pushing him through. Tim's gone wide as well, and he's been forced into the tyre barriers. He's going to be livid with that. He's been pushed all the way to fourth. Silver with a very nice move there, and Tim Dicknotter closing up. Silver up to P2. Sarkinen retains P3, but it's Bossard out front who's doing an amazing job at the moment. Silver, the only car to serve the Joker on the first lap, and Bossard will be able to breathe a little bit now. He's got a bit of space. He can take his time through the Joker. Doesn't have to take too many unnecessary risks, but it is Tim Dicknotter who has to do everything now, and Sarkinen as well, to try and get as many points from this heat as they can. Silver does not go through the Joker. Sarkinen does. Dicknotter does not. So Tim's leaving it to the last lap, but crucially, he's managed to get ahead of Sarkinen. Now he has to hope he can open up a gap big enough to serve his Joker and still come out ahead, but it could be a sore day for Tim Dicknotter. Of course, all these drivers hoping they can get through into the A final. Just depends how many points they have accrued in their heat races so far. It's based on time, of course. Fastest heats give you more points towards your final, and your two fastest times go towards your final placement. You get one drop result of each of your heats, and that will be calculated after this race, because we're on the final heat race of round one, and it's super close at the back between Dicknotter and Sarkinen. Bossard is bossing it out front currently with the fastest lap and the P1 banner, and he is going for his Joker. He has to go for it now, and he has to hope that he's got enough of a nose ahead of Silver, but Silver's done a very effective corner there, tags the back of Bossard. Tim has had a massive understeer moment through the Joker. It's not gone well for him. He drops back behind Sarkinen, so it is going to be probably P4 for him, but credit to the number 12, Bossard, nailing this heat, and just one corner to go for him. It was super close between him and Silver out of the Joker, but luckily he avoided too much contact, which could have sent him into the wall very easily. That is a nasty, nasty exit. Silver's had a less than optimal final corner, but he gets it done in the end. Silver coming in P2. Sarkinen across the line in P3, and Dicknotter, he'll be sore after that one. He will not have enjoyed coming across the line in P4. Let's get the classification then for our final heat race of the event. Stephen Bossard in P number 1 with the gold banner, 3 minutes 1.19. Silver in P2, Sarkinen in P3, and Dicknotter in P4. Bossard there with another very, very fast heat race. Fastest lap, 58.13. Very, very nice time indeed. We're going to have a bit of a pause now before we get our finals underway. There will be a C final, a B final, and then an A final. C final will be contested between the drivers who had the two slowest heat times. The B final, slightly quicker heat times, and the A final, the fastest drivers of the event. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment's time once we've worked out who is going to be in those races. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Master Race Cars Rallycross Championship Season 3, and we have our grids set for the final. The A final will be between Sindra Silva, Stephen Bossard, Tim Dicknotter, Timo Sarkinen and Rafael Costa. The B final between Ronnie Hopiavuri, Daniel Lundqvist, Agostini da Silva, Roni Krompush and Miguel Leandro. And the C final will be between Yasin Badal, Michael Malik, Jelly Dicknotter and Arthur Jackson. Here we go to the track for our C final. Arthur Jackson is not in attendance, by the way, so that's a name you won't have seen driving around, but they are still classified on our grids. If they do turn up, they can drive. 3 cars set off. We have a podium in the background, I've just noticed. There we go. Yasin Badal with a great lead there as he heads down to the first corner, and Jelly Dicknotter at the back. Michael Malik, well, he would not have liked to have been in the C final, but he has to live with it and try and maximise as many points from here as possible. As we head up the hill, it is Yasin leading from Michael with Jelly Dicknotter. He will be hoping he can finish the race on his wheels. Michael Malik goes through the Joker, so too does Jelly. And Yasin needs to cement now a good couple of laps. Of course, we have 4 laps of heat racing. We saw some drivers in the heat races getting hotter tyres. So 1 extra lap might cause a problem in these finals. No such problems so far for the drivers, being ever so slightly more cautious through these corners. And Jelly Dicknotter maybe less so as he's pushing one of the 4 high tyre barriers with him down towards the final corner. Yasin Badal wide out of the final corner. Michael Malik needs to be there though to pick up the pieces, and he's just not at the moment. He's not really sliding the car much at all, probably trying to preserve some of the tyre life. But he also needs to try and preserve points and time and try and get back closer to this pop art car of Yasin Badal, who's going to brush the wall, more than a brush actually, hit it quite hard. Michael creeps ever closer. No Joker on this lap for Yasin Badal. He will have to do it on one of the 2 remaining laps. And Jelly Dicknotter there just ambling his way around the track at the moment. An ultimate corner for Yasin, quite wide, will brush all of the tyre barriers, chucks a couple the way of Michael Malik, but it does seem as though Yasin is able to get quite a nice run down the hill. Again, very wide for both these drivers. Yasin wide enough to stroke a few more tyre barriers. And actually, the best hairpin award goes to Jelly Dicknotter on that lap, so fair play. 1 or 2 more attempts for Yasin to decide whether he wants to go through the Joker or not. He can do it this lap or next lap. Completely up to him. He's going to brush the barrier again. Yep. Taps the barrier, heads into the Joker, and now Michael Malik needs to stamp on it. He needs to get in the lead. He's got him, but Yasin... Michael was too tentative. He should have absolutely stamped the throttle and got out of that as quickly as possible. And now that's a huge advantage that's gone the way of Yasin. They were side by side. Michael had the advantage, but he was bullied out of the way and now has to try and make up a 1.7 second gap. Badal goes wide though. Michael will be happy with that, but not happy that he got a face full of rubber. Let's see what happens into the final corner. Yasin wide again. He's giving Michael so many opportunities and Michael fires him into the wall. I'm not sure there's much Michael could have done there. Yasin came back across the front of him. Michael's going to give him the place, although I don't feel as though he had to. Michael Malik gave him the place back. That's very sportsmanlike, but I don't honestly think as though... I don't think there's much he could have done there, to be honest. Yasin came straight across the front of him. Michael Malik obviously believing that he understeered into him and could have avoided it, but gives him the place back. Very sportsmanlike. He's going to hit the wall himself, and that's going to compromise his line into the hairpin. We're on the final lap. This is the C final of round 1 of Master Race Cars' 3rd season of their Rallycross Championship, and it is going to be a tough one between these two. Michael Malik can now take the gloves off and force a move somewhere on this lap on Yasin. Yasin's been given a second opportunity to win this, but he's going to go wide again. Michael goes wide as well. That was the perfect opportunity for Michael to turn this race on its head, but it hasn't happened, and Yasin Badal, just 1 corner to go. Every lap he's gone wide here, and it's no different on this final lap. Both of them very wide, and, well, that was drama, but it is Yasin Badal who wins ahead of Michael Malik, and it's going to be a little bit of a wait for Jelly Dicknotter, who is, well, sending tyres into the stratosphere once again, and well, trying to find a gear. Having to find reverse gear, actually. There we go. And we'll just have a bit of a wait here for Jelly to navigate the final corner of this final lap. But what an intense heat race that was. Michael Malik essentially gifting the position back to Yassin Badal. Fair play. Nice sportsmanship, but ultimately demotes Michael to P2, and it is Yassin Badal's day in the C final. Let's get the full results before we head to the next grid race. There we go on the screen. We have Yassin Badal registered as our first place driver, Michael Malik in P2, and Jelly Nodda in P3. Fastest lap went to Yassin Badal, 1 minute 0.23. The B final is going to be coming up in just a moment's time. Don't go anywhere. Our second final, our B final, is going to be contested between Ronnie Hopiavuri, Daniel Lundquist, Agostino da Silva, Roni Krompush, and Miguel Leandro. We are moments away from our A final, but first we have to get through the C and B finals. C final went the way of Yassin Badal, very convincingly in the end. Yeah, we're just getting the grid set for our B final, and it's going to be coming up right now. Strap yourselves in. Here comes the B final. It's going to be contested between the 5 drivers you see before you. Hopiavuri on the far left. Sorry, 6 cars there on the grid. Hopiavuri, Lundquist, Da Silva, Krompush, Leandro, and Yassin Badal, who is promoted, of course, from the C final. Hopiavuri into the first corner first. Leandro also with a good first corner. And Da Silva there up into P2. Lundquist down to P4. And it's going to be a bit of a bundle. This is the most cars we've seen attack this track so far. And oh, goodness me, Yassin's been tagged as one of the cars went into the Joker. It was Leandro. Leandro there doing the Joker, as well as Roni Krompush. Roni's having a bit of a struggle at the back, but it's Hopiavuri and Da Silva at the front. 2 very, very fast drivers here. Some of these drivers I would have expected to see in the A final, but just not quick enough heat times, I'm afraid. Drivers holding each other up and causing them to end up in the B final. Lundquist quite wide. Hopiavuri, oh, Yassin Badal smashing into the side of Lundquist there, and Lundquist returning the favour, but that does promote Da Silva up to P2. Lundquist very, very wide onto the gravel, trying to get the best run he can, and it's close in the background between Leandro and Yassin Badal now as they head up the corkscrew for the second time this race. These top 4 still need to serve their Joker laps. Will any of them decide to do it now? Hopiavuri does not. Lundquist does not. Da Silva decided to reverse his way into the Joker. Really has no choice now. And Yassin Badal decides to do his Joker as well. But yeah, that's not great from De Silva then. Drops all the way to the back, unfortunately. And Hopier has not had a good corner there at all. Neither two has Lundqvist. Both of them going through the into the wall. Lundqvist deciding to mow down all the tyres as well. And Yassin Badal, he likes going for that inside lunge. We saw it in his heat before in the C final. He's hoping, of course, he can get a promotion into the A final. That would be a revelation. He's currently in P3, so it's not within the realms of impossibility. It is now, as Leandro flips onto his roof and he's out of this race. So Yassin Badal, side-by-side contact with Leandro, and Leandro is out. And Roni Krompush now up into P3. Sorry, yes, into P3. And that's probably not what he expected at the beginning of this race when he was down right at the back. Into the wall goes Bidal. And that is all the drivers now with their Joker laps completed. It's a battle at the back between De Silva and Yassin Bidal. Out front, no such issues so far for Hopier. Lundqvist is his only real challenge at the moment. Bidal's gone really wide, and De Silva has got the job done. Yassin has to pick up all the pieces if he wants to score anything from this race, really. And he's tussling. He's really battling hard with De Silva there. Hopier having a nightmare with his rear tyres onto the final lap, but in a cloud of smoke. Up the chicane we go for the final time in the B final. And it's Lundqvist who's hoping to get anything he can from this heat. Nice tight line, possibly too tight. Can't get the rear out at all. Tries to get the power down, but it's not going to work. It's going the way of Hopier right now. He has done everything he needs to do in this heat. Wide into the tyres for Hopier, and that is going to give Lundqvist the unexpected move that he wants. He's crowded Hopier into the barrier. This is a very, very frantic and elbows out finish to the race. Hopier was backwards at the hairpin nearly and almost gifted second place to Yassin Bidal, who had a fantastic recovery, but elbows out between the top two there, and Lundqvist muscles his way into the lead. The stewards after the race may be having a look at that. That was pretty aggressive stuff. Hopier finishes P2 and will not be promoted to the A final. That will be Lundqvist. Yassin Bidal finishes in P3. Roni Krompush in P4 and De Silva in P5. And my, that was a heat race. The most aggressive heat race I think we've seen so far, but it had to be. It was the final. It was the B final. And here are those results. Lundqvist finishing in 4 minutes 10, 4 laps in 4 minutes 10. Hopier 3 seconds behind in the end. Yassin Bidal, after being promoted from the C final to the B final, finishes on the podium. A good result for him. Roni Krompush, De Silva, and Leandro are the rest of your finishers. They will all receive championship points, but they will not be promoted to the A final, which is coming up in just a moment's time. So I believe we can pull up the grid then for our A final. We have to add Lundqvist to it, but there it is. Sindre Silva, Stephen Bossard, Tim Ducknodder, Timi Sarkinen, Rafael Costa, and Lundqvist will be added to the A final. So 6 cars will be contending. We'll have a full grid pretty much for our final race of the day. This will be our final race of the day, of course. And this is where the most points will be awarded in the event. The A final, of course, the most prestigious of the races. Coming up in just a moment's time. Here comes the final then. Silver on the left-hand side. Stephen Bossard in the middle. Noda on the second row alongside Sarkkinen, Costa and Lundqvist there. And as we head down to the first corner, it is Lundqvist, who's promoted from the B final, who takes a very wide line, trying to get an advantage, but just hasn't worked. Silver then with the advantage as we head up the hill. Stephen Bossard, who did a really, really nice job in his heat races, is right there as well. Sarkkinen 2, and Tim Noda, well, he was a little bit carried, I think. He's managed to get into the A final by the skin of his teeth. And the top two have been spun round. This is a really, really tight section, and Silver having a lot of trouble turning his car around. Stephen Bossard managing to recover to P4, but it is Sarkkinen out of nowhere who begins this, who finishes this lap in the lead. The top two rubbing too hard, going side by side, and Tim Noda with a very, very forceful move up the inside there, pushing Sarkkinen to one side. Tim Noda leads the number one car there, leading. And he's done the Joker as well, so he is in a perfect position, but it's crazy behind. Lundqvist currently in P2, then we've got Costa in P3, and Sarkkinen trying to force the issue up the inside in P4. Stephen Bossard recovering there in the background in P5, and Lundqvist and Costa going side by side, allowing Bossard a move up the inside, retaking P3, will he? Yes, he will. But Lundqvist has been pushed into the tyre barriers at the chicane, and Costa forced back down. Surely he'll do his Joker now. No, he doesn't. Oh, he's already done his Joker. So that's why he didn't go through the Joker lap. Silver all the way at the back now serving his Joker, and he has 2 laps left to pick up the pieces. But Tim Noda, out of seemingly nowhere, has got the lead of the race. Lundqvist with a warning for contact. Sarkkinen P2. Bossard in P3 trying to make a move on Sarkkinen. Lundqvist picked up that penalty for the moves on lap 1 that he was pulling. But it is Noda with a pretty safe, well, I wouldn't say safe, but a healthy margin at the moment over Sarkkinen and Bossard as we head on to lap number 3. Crazy action here in round 1. Lundqvist recovering in P4, Costa there in P5, and Silver getting closer there in P6. It was just a warning then for Lundqvist, not a penalty, as Sarkkinen goes for his Joker. And it looks like Stephen Bossard gets close. Gets close in the braking zone, but not quite enough to make a move on Lundqvist. Stephen Bossard, of course, the only driver now left without a Joker lap on the record. And we will see if he can get that move made as he heads through the last couple of corners of this lap. Into the tyres again for Sarkkinen, leaving a debris of tyres for Lundqvist and Costa, and Silver, who has made a move unseen to us. He's managed to make a move, but Costa might be there again because the Silver's gone deep into the back of Lundqvist. And he does indeed. Silver really is trying hard, but it's not enough at the moment. And speaking of trying hard, Bossard and Tim Noda onto our final lap of the final race of this event. Side by side, grandstand finish for us to enjoy. And as they head up the hill, they are still side by side, but just in the lead with a slight advantage now is Bossard. We're watching Tim Noda because he's immediately under threat again from Sarkkinen, and in just a blink of an eye, oh goodness me, Bossard gone so wide, almost lost a place to Sarkkinen. Sarkkinen meanwhile was hampered a bit, and the place was given back to Tim Noda. So Tim Noda P2 has it all to do into the final corner. Might have Sarkkinen for company as well. He's got to be careful. Bossard nailing the second to last corner. Tim Noda even more so, though. He was really great through there, and he's got one more opportunity on the brakes to try and get this move made. A little bit of a cheeky tag maybe, but it's not enough. Stephen Bossard is going to win the A final. He does so. Tim Noda P2, Teemu Sarkkinen P3, well deserved. Costa has spun in the background as he was coming up to the line. Lundqvist will finish P4. Silver will finish P5, and Costa, unfortunately, in P6. Well, that was absolutely frantic action. Costa really, really unhappy with whatever's gone on there. But there it is, your final classification for the A final, 4:07 for Stephen Bossard, followed by Tim Noda, Teemu Sarkkinen, Lundqvist, Silver, and Costa. It looks like Tim Noda is going to have a championship battle on his hands this time. Stephen Bossard, very, very strong, but only a second separating those two after 4 laps of hard action. 58-second 0.82, the fastest lap by Bossard there. And that draws to a close the first round of the MRC Rallycross Championship. What an event. We may be able to hear from a couple of drivers. We have a few of them in the TeamSpeak server, and they may want to come and have a word with us. But before that, I believe there is a small podium ceremony. There is a podium being constructed in the background. We're going to have a look to see if Stephen Bossard can make his way to the podium area eventually, probably being instructed by race control to do so. So once they have assembled on the podium, we will come back and see if we have any driver interviews before we sign off. Don't go anywhere. And there we are. The podium is assembled. Stephen Bossard takes up his place in the second, in the middle there, the top of the podium. Tim Dicknodder in P2 and Timu Sarkinen in P number 3. That is our podium. We do not currently have any interviews, but I wonder if we will in just a moment's time. It looks like Rafael Costa wants to have a word with us. Rafael, you join us in the commentary box. That was a pretty frantic final lap, but you managed to survive just about. Tell us about your race.
Well, the heats were very good, in my opinion. They were, of course, I could have won at least one, but it was just hard racing, so I didn't have much to do. But this A final was very hard. Lots of crashes, touches, and but we didn't have much chance to do anything really.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, it was a pretty difficult race. Good to be back racing Rallycross at the MRC Rallycross Championship, though, right?
I'm happy that I could be back, because I think you remember that last season I said I could have not be back racing, but here I am. I'm happy for that.
That is true. I do remember that.
Hopefully,
yeah, we're happy to have you back.
Yeah, hopefully this season will be even better for me.
Well, you've started it pretty well. You've got a P6 in round 1. It's a long championship, 5 rounds this time, so plenty of time to make places, certainly. And we hope to see you next time out. And next time out, I believe we can flash up the graphic for that. We will be at Blackwood Rallycross at one of the other custom tracks by Tim Dicknodder. Are you looking forward to that?
Oh, Blackwood Rallycross, I really like. I'm hoping for great results.
Good stuff. Well, we'll hope to see you at the next round. Tim joins us in the commentary box now. And Tim, it didn't quite go your way today. You have competition. Stephen Bossard, what do you make of that? Tim, can you hear us? While Tim sorts out his microphone, we will talk about the calendar. Yes, we have Blackwood Rallycross coming up in a few weeks' time. In fact, the first race on our calendar for January 2023 will be the Master Race Car Rallycross Championship Season 3 Round 2 at Blackwood Rallycross, followed by Fern Bay, Aston and West Hill. Just waiting to see. Tim Dicknodder has timed out from the server, so having some connection trouble at the end here for him. We'll give him a moment to reconnect before we inevitably sign off from the stream, but just to reflect on what has been a fantastic opening round, pretty crazy, pretty manic, but pretty enjoyable, it has to be said. I'm just wondering, is Michael Malik here for an interview? Michael, are you here? Doesn't look like we're having much luck for interviews this afternoon, but we're gonna try Tim one more time. Tim, can you hear us? Well, it doesn't look like anybody can hear us this afternoon, which is a mighty shame. Maybe some better luck for Silver. Silver, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, finally! Goodness me. Good, someone to talk to. Tell us about your event.
Painful, to be honest, but it was a fun event. Fun that people bring things like this up, and we can do more rallycross.
Yeah, well, P5 in your first event here this season, and plenty to work on from there.
100%. I think I did have pretty much good work before this event, but not the luck in the first lap. So yeah, we'll try to provide some better luck next week, or not next week, but next event. I mean,
next event, yeah, it's in a month's time. It's actually quite a long wait. And as I said to Costa, yeah, there's a platform to build on from here. You've got 4 weeks, and you've also got 4 more rounds in order to, gain points. It's not over. It's round 1. This is a feeler.
Yeah, 100%. I think everything behind this with the build up to the events and stuff like that, it will be good. I think so. It'll be fun attending the rest of the series.
Yeah, and you're one of our drivers who's also competing in real world motorsport. I hear you're probably going to be doing some real world racing before we see you again. What's it like over there? And have you got any real world plans coming up?
Not really. Not before the next event, but we do a lot of sim racing. We are trying to prepare for the World Championship in iRacing, and we just try to grind and find this a little bit fun to do these events off season.
Perfect. Well, thanks for joining us, and good luck with any of your plans over the festive period, even if it doesn't involve any real world stuff. Enjoy the sim while it's a bit colder.
Thank you, man.
Catch you later. That was Sindra Silva, who is he finished P5 today and hopes for more in future rounds. Michael,
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you finally. That wasn't the round you hoped for, was it?
Pretty much. I wasn't practicing much because of some real life things, but I need to pull some bigger performance next time around.
Absolutely. We want to see you out of the C final. We don't want to see you in that final again next time, all right?
Absolutely. I will try to perform better next time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the last you want to say on this round, but looking forward to the next one. So obviously we've got 4 more rounds. Blackwood is the next one. Do you think there's room for improvement? Certainly, I think so.
I think on my side it can get any worse, so there's definitely room for improvement, and I will search for some extra gap in performance to do better.
Perfect. Well, we hope to see you at the next one. Take it easy. We're going to chat to Tim, and we'll see you at the next round, Michael. Have a good winter.
See you.
Tim, we'll try one more time. Can you hear us, buddy?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Loud and clear. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I had terrible luck in all the heats, but in the finals I got a bit of luck.
Well, on that note, I want to say that to be honest, I thought you might have missed out on a spot in the A final. It was your heat races weren't fantastic, were they at all?
No, I just came back from a weekend with my friends, and I didn't practice anything for the last few days, so I went in without any fresh practice, so it was swimming while being in the sea. It was terrible. Yeah,
pretty well. I mean, you finished in P2 overall in the A final, and it looks like you've got hot competition from Stephen Bossard. Are you looking forward to the championship battle with him?
I'm looking forward to it, but I think Silva will come play a part in it as well. I know both drivers, they're very fast. I invited Steven myself, so I know the kind of competition he brings. And Silva I raced a few times on LFS before, so it's gonna be a tough one.
Definitely is. I'm looking forward to it a lot. I'm sure you are too. 4 rounds to go in the new year, and a big variety of different tracks as well. It's going to be an exciting season, and especially with a new name, Stephen Bossard, competing here in LFS in your championship. So it's going to be exciting, I think.
Yeah, I was very happy he wanted to join. I've got another few French drivers that might be able to join. They're still sorting out timings because they all have family life, so it's a bit harder, but I hope they can join as well. And we can bring a nice show every event.
Well, this has certainly been a good way to set off the championship. And if anyone who's watching is interested in signing up for the third season of Master Race Cars Rallycross Championship, it's not too late. There are still 4 rounds to go. We'd love to see you as part of the grid. And all the details to sign up are on the LFS forum. Anything else you want to add, Tim?
Yes, I hope all viewers enjoyed the show today, and we will certainly be back to bring more entertainment their way.
Brilliant stuff. Tim Dicknunner there, who of course created all 4 of the mods that the drivers have been using today, as well as all of the tracks, and constructed the championship too. So a busy boy. See you at the next one, Tim.
Good night, Pete. Thank you for the broadcast and all the work. I want also to thank Jonathan Palmer for the app he made to make the gridding a lot easier and a lot less time consuming.
Well, I'm sure he will hear your thanks there. Yes, of course, Jonathan Palmer representing New Dimension Racing's input to the MRC RX Championship there. And thank you, Tim. We'll see you in the new year.
Good night.
That's everything from us at Sim Broadcast. We hope you enjoyed the action here today at the Master Race Car RX Championship. It's certainly been a blast, and we hope to see you at the next one. That'll be in a few weeks' time. In fact, it will be currently the next race on our calendar, and that looks like this. It will be Blackwood RX on January the 8th at 6 o'clock UTC. We hope to see you then from all of us here at Sim Broadcast. We hope you have a good evening. Good night.